And I prefer to start with smaller brush. So take the paint. I imagine that most of the part should be for the sky and less for the landscape part or the snow part. So I'm imagining this is good for my sky part. And I draw one line as a curve for this part. And the house or even the cottage, actually, the cottage is on center. It's not really big. So I can start, this is look like a box. If you imagine, let me draw it for you on the other paper. If you imagine this blue paper, it's like a box that you can see like that. The other box will come on top like this. And then if we connect all these angles to each other, it's look like that. But it's a little bit in an angle. So I start to add the first line on the center, which is this one. And then a little bit of space in between. I start to draw the other one on the side, which is the smaller, shorter, and they connect together like that. Then the other side of the house is again smaller. So if I draw like a ruler, this comes down, but the other are the same level. So I'm going to add this one here. Just the middle line will come on a little bit further on the bottom. Then the roof will come on top, and I imagine that this is the center of my cottage here. So this is a good part for adding the roof. I'm going to add this triangle shape of roof here. And as you see, these are in perspective. So it's a 2-point perspective. If you continue from this line and this line, they both reach out of the page of this painting. So these are not parallel line. This is come here, and the other, which is on the roof, should be exactly come there. And if you continue, they reach each other on a point, which is 1 point for perspective, and the other will come on the other side, left and right. But the parallel line is on the top of the roof, which is exactly the same like that. And then they reach each other by this line. And a tiny chimney is on top. And I imagine that's the window. I will do it by warm yellow color later. And the window on this side is in an angle as well in some perspective. So one side is longer, one side is shorter. I'm not going to add lots of white into the light blue because I would like to add the white for the snowflake. Because of that, a little bit, it's enough. I'm going to bring the light blue color. Even for change a little bit tone, I add cobalt blue into that just a bit, because cobalt can change the blue color a little bit more. Most of the time, I prefer to premix little by little and not see huge change in my mixture. And then a tiny bit white to see what happened to my mixture, and then add a little bit more. I think would be okay. I'm happy with this color just a bit. So we can start with this blue color, and then pure cobalt. But for the top, we need the darker tone, as I mentioned. So I clean my palette knife, take cobalt blue here, and add a tiny bit black, because black is so powerful. So again, little by little is better to premix and see what happens. If you need more, then a little bit more, we will add just a bit. So this is really good for the shadow part or the darkness, and this is good for the light part. So I'm going to take my darker, my bigger size of brush, and start with this light color. Cover around the cottage very nice and gently. Try to touch it very close to that, very clean. And make sure it's better to use heavy paint, because heavy paint really takes time to get dry, and it gives you a chance to relax, add the other color, which is good for transition, and finish the background, and not any edges created between the colors and the values. And I prefer not to wash my brush with water and bring it directly to the surface, because if I do like that, my painting is moved toward watercolor style. It's okay if you like, but I'm followed look like oil color. So because of that, I have always napkin on my hand and clean it by napkin. Again, I make this part wet with light blue color. You see that I again back to the blue and make it wet. Even again back to pure white color. Get rid of these edges that it makes by this color and let them blend together and give me lighter result. Less pressure in my hand and let it very gently blend together. And then move on with dark tone. Make sure the edges should be completely wet, and then move on with this dark tone on top. Even pure cobalt blue. It's okay to have it. And then we let them blend together. It's okay if you add more layers on your painting, because always it's good to have more layers. And these layers make the painting more powerful. And already you get rid of the white of canvas, because sometimes it's not easy to get rid of white of the canvas. So by repeating and adding more tone on top, it's more easy to cover the white of the canvas. So I'm start with the flat brush with the light tone. I'm going to add like this, so flat. Adding the light blue color on here. Even if you use texture on top and bring heavy paint with the texture would be great, because it shows that snow. And I prefer not to go with one value. I prefer to have a pure white color even here to add different tone, because when you bring the white color, they play together and give us a nice mixture of white and blue. It's more look like reality for the snow. I'm going to use my brown into a little bit blue. So take the brown. We just finished the painting with all these colors, 2 different blue, black, white, and brown. It's a limited palette, and it's good for blue lovers because most of the part is blue. I add cobalt blue into the brown. It gets darker, but this darkness is different from the one that we add by black. It's a little warmer dark. So start with this dark color. This one on the stance is a little bit shorter, it's not long, and make sure not to go longer than the roof. It should be long like that. This is shorter, even one line, draw like this to mention about the place, and the other is a little bit further, have a space in between like that, but the length is not longer than the roof. And then start to adding and shape the cone tree. On top is shorter, on the bottom part it's get bigger and bigger. Even you can use the side of flat brush, or as I mentioned, round brush, both are fine. And it's look like triangle, smaller on top, bigger on the bottom. Even you can add some texture, heavy paint and a little bit texture. Would be nice to have. And let it be like that. Then we will come on top by lighter tone and snow. So the second one is small on top. Try to use the edge of my flat brush and then bigger on the bottom part. And then I am going to add with this pointy brush with the details. Dilute it into the paint and start from one side to add a little snow. Even if it's wet and they mix together would be okay. Then we bring it more, and that's helped to be as a layers. And then cover it with the snow. And a little bit less toward the right side, the left side. Even if it's wet, it's good because the left side is get lighter, darker. And then I'm going to add more layers on the right side to show you that's darker. Even sometimes it's okay to bring the pure white color in between, just a tiny bit, not much. I'm going to add here. Even if it's okay and it's easy for you, you can just cover whole the part, not bother yourself for the window. We will add that later. And just add a dark color of brown on the part that it's neat. And then the other part is this one, which is brownie. Now I'm going to let it draw. Here it's mixture of brown and white, so a tiny bit, because this is lighter brown. So I'm going to mix the brown with tiny bit white to make it lighter. And then add a tone on this part. I see some line as a dark line because it's the shape of wood on top of this light color. So clean the brush with napkin and just a pure brown color. With a pointy brush, I try to draw a line inside this one, like that, to look like wood. It's wet, they mix together, I'm okay with it. One part can be darker a little bit. The blue and white for the roof. So the blue is the same as this one, light blue color, and the white is a pure white. So I'm going to flatly cover this one, this part of the roof, with light blue. A little bit comes up because it shows that the snow will on top. And even we can go with heavy paint because of the snow and the texture that it makes. For any small part, I try my best to be a little bit with the patient and so gently touch the surface. And then one line on the other side. Then I feel here should be darker. I'm going to use this one. My blue color is already here wet. It's mixture of cobalt and the light blue color. So I'm going to add a little this one on top and even let them blend together. Because one side, which is the end of the roof, should be darker. And the darkness, I'm going to add cobalt blue mixed with the light blue. And after that, clean the brush. Just with the pure white color, we need to add both sides. One here on top with the pure white color. And the other is on here on top of the roof. Just this three part is with the pure white color we add. So the base is lighter blue. At the end, we add cobalt, which is darker. And then pure white color for both edges and a little bit on top to show that it's covered by snow. Drop of water on one side of my palette. Take pure white color and diluted the hair of brush into this watery white color, like that. And then try to shape the fog, so the smoke that you see on top, like that. So it's so watery, and it shows that it's a heavy white color. It actually not heavy white, but after it gets dry, it disappears. With the pointy brush, the snowflake, it's just heavy white color. Some of them is circular shape and tiny. Some of them is like the star. I'm going to add circular shape, just like that. Randomly, you can spread everywhere. And again, straight like that. Take your brush, draw like an X shape here, a little bit long and bigger. Try not to be really thick. And then another line to cut from this X shape. And then add some like a V here, because the snowflake shape is like that. It's better to be narrow. And some circular shape on the end of this snowflake. You can see.